The concrete scraped skin from Mrs. Vera Thorne's knees as Deputy Caleb Stone pulled her silver hair like reins on a broken horse. Her weathered hands clawed at the courthouse steps, fingernails splitting against stone, leaving red trails where her palms hit sharp edges. The old woman's dress tore at the shoulder, exposing bruised skin that had seen too many seasons of this same cruelty. Mercy pressed her face against the pickup truck's passenger window, breath fogging the glass. Her twin sister Grace gripped the steering wheel until her knuckles went white. Neither girl spoke. They had learned long ago that words meant nothing in moments like this. "Get up," Stone growled, yanking Mrs. Thorne to her feet. "You don't get to sit on these steps like you own them." "I paid taxes on this land before you were born," Mrs. Thorne whispered, blood threading down from her split lip. "Your husband's dead. His taxes died with him." The deputy's boots scraped against concrete as he dragged the widow toward his patrol car. Mrs. Thorne's silver hair caught the afternoon light, fanning out like spider silk as Stone's fist twisted deeper into the strands. Her eyes found the twins through the pickup window. She mouthed a single word. "Help!" Grace's hand moved to the door handle. Mercy caught her wrist. "Wait," Mercy said. "For what?" Look at her eyes. Mrs. Thorne wasn't just asking for help. She was asking them to remember the same way their grandmother looked at them through a hospital window 20 years ago, after Sheriff Stone Sr. had found her trespassing on county land, found her asking questions about missing women, found her getting too close to truths that powerful men prefer buried. "Grandmama," Grace whispered. "I know." Stone shoved Mrs. Thorne against his patrol car, her face hitting metal with a sound that made both twins flinch. The deputy's radio crackled with static and distant voices discussing property seizures and eviction notices. Mrs. Thorne's small house sat 3 miles outside town limits, the last piece of land preventing Stone's family from owning the entire eastern valley. "You remember what happened next?" Mercy asked. Grace nodded. Their grandmother had disappeared into the county jail for 3 days. When she came out, she never spoke about what Sheriff Stone Sr. had done to her in those cells. She just sat in her rocking chair, staring at the well behind their house, until her heart gave out 6 months later. Stone opened the patrol car's back door. Mrs. Thorne stumbled, her legs giving out beneath her. He caught her by the throat, lifting until her feet barely touched the ground. "Easy now, Mrs. Thorne. Don't want you hurting yourself before we get to the station." "My house," she wheezed. "Your house belongs to the county now. Back taxes, remember? I paid them. No record of that payment. Funny how paperwork gets lost." Grace started the pickup truck's engine. The sound rumbled through the courthouse, square like thunder before a storm. Stone looked up, his eyes finding theirs through the windshield. He smiled the same smile his father used to wear, all teeth and empty promises. "Drive away," Mercy said. "What?" "Drive away slow. Let him think we're scared." Grace pulled the truck away from the courthouse, tires crunching over gravel. In the rear-view mirror, they watched Stone push Mrs. Thorne into the patrol car, her silver head disappearing behind tinted glass. The deputy stood for a moment, adjusting his badge, straightening his uniform, making sure he looked proper for whatever came next. "Where are we going?" Grace asked. "Home first, then to see Mrs. Thorne. She's in jail." "Not for long." They drove past fields where corn should have been growing, but the land lay fallow and brown. Stone family holdings stretched in every direction, marked by new fences and no trespassing signs. The twins remembered when those fields belonged to different families. The Kowalskis had owned the northern section until their daughter went missing and they couldn't afford the search parties. The Hernandez family had farmed the southern acres until their well went dry and the county refused to help them dig a new one. All those families had daughters who vanished. All those families had received visits from Sheriff Stone Sr. first, then his son after the old man retired. All those families had eventually sold their land for less than it was worth, or simply walked away when the taxes became impossible to pay. "Grandmama knew," Grace said. She tried to tell people. Nobody listened. They listened to badges. Mercy reached under the pickup truck's bench seat, her fingers finding the small wooden box their grandmother had left them. Inside, wrapped in faded tissue paper, sat a silver star. Deputy Sheriff's badge, issued in 1987 to their grandmother before the county decided women weren't suited for law enforcement. Think it still works? Grace asked. Only one way to find out. They turned into their driveway, gravel popping under the truck's tires. Their house sat small and white against the evening sky, surrounded by oak trees their great-grandfather had planted. Behind the house, half hidden by tall grass, sat the old stone well. Their grandmother used to say it remembered everything that happened on this land. Every secret, every lie, every woman who had disappeared into the county jail and never came out the same. We're really doing this? Grace asked. Mercy opened the wooden box, lifted the badge, felt its weight in her palm. The silver caught the last rays of sunlight streaming through the truck's windshield. Mrs. Thorne isn't going to disappear, she said. Not like the others. Stone won't just let us walk into his jail. He will if we have something he wants more than her. Grace turned off the engine. The twins sat in silence, watching shadows grow long across their grandmother's land. Somewhere in town, Mrs. Thorne was learning what happened to women who asked too many questions about missing neighbors. Somewhere in town, Deputy Stone was probably calling his father, telling him about the widow who wouldn't shut up about property records and tax payments. But the twins weren't going to wait for Mrs. Thorne to disappear. They had spent 17 years watching women vanish. Tonight, that pattern would break. You ready for this? Mercy asked. Grace smiled, and for the first time in years, it looked exactly like their grandmother's smile. Fierce and unafraid. Let's go get her. What Grandmama left us. The county jail smelled like bleach and fear. Mercy and Grace walked the front door like they owned the place, their grandmother's badge hidden in Grace's jacket pocket. Deputy Stone looked up from his desk, coffee mug halfway to his lips. Buildings closed of visitors. We're not visitors, Grace said. Then what are you? Family. Stone set down his coffee. Whose family? Mrs. Thorne's. Mercy lied smoothly. Our great-aunt. The deputy's eyes narrowed. He recognized them now, the twins who had watched from the pickup truck, the twins whose grandmother had asked too many questions 20 years ago. Visiting hours start at 9 tomorrow. She's bleeding, Grace said. We can see her from here. Mrs. Thorne sat in a holding cell 15 feet away, silver hair matted with dry blood. Her dress had torn worse during the ride to jail. Purple bruises bloomed across her arms like violets. She fell down some stairs. Stone said, What stairs? Mercy asked, The ones leading to her cell. There are no stairs to the holding cell. Stone stood up, his chair scraping against linoleum. His hand moved his gun belt, not drawing but letting his fingers rest on the grip. You girls need to leave. Not without Mrs. Thorne, Grace said. She's under arrest. For what? Trespassing. Disturbing the peace. Take your pick. Grace pulled the silver badge from her pocket. The metal caught the fluorescent lights, throwing tiny reflections across the jail's white walls. Stone's face went pale. Where did you get that? Our grandmother. Deputy Sheriff Eleanor Hayes, Mercy said, reading the name engraved on the badge. Served from 1987 to 1989. Until your father had her removed, Grace added. Stone's hand tightened on his gun. My father retired her. Medical reasons. Broken ribs aren't medical reasons, Mercy said. They're assault charges. You don't know what you're talking about. We know about the files, Grace said. Mrs. Thorne lifted her head in the cell, her eyes focusing on the twins. Blood had dried at the corner of her mouth, but her voice carried clearly across the jail. Sarah Kowalski, she whispered. Maria Hernandez. Jennifer Walsh. Shut up, Stone snapped. Lisa Chun. Rebecca Johnson. Your grandmother, Eleanor Hayes. I said shut up. Mrs. Thorne pressed her face against the cell bars. They all asked questions about missing women. They all ended up in this jail. They all disappeared one way or another. Stone drew his gun, pointing it at Mrs. Thorne through the bars. One more word, and I'll say you were trying to escape. Put the gun down, Grace said. You're trespassing now, too. We're citizens exercising our rights. What rights? Grace held up the badge again. Deputy Sheriff's rights. Stone laughed, but the sound came out wrong like a cough. That badge expired decades ago. Check your county charter, Mercy said. Section 12, paragraph 4. Deputy commissions remain valid until formally revoked by county court order. Your father never took our grandmother to court, Grace added. Just beat her until she stopped coming to work. Stone's gun hand trembled. You can't prove that. The files can. What files? The ones buried behind your family's well, Mercy said. 20 years worth of missing person reports. All women. All asking questions about land rights and tax payments. Mrs. Thorne spoke from her cell, voice growing stronger. They kept records. Every woman who threatened their business. Every family they forced off their land. Business? Stone asked. Human trafficking, Mrs. Thorne said. Young women disappear from families who won't sell their property. Families get desperate, sell cheap, move away to look for their daughters. Stone's gun wavered between Mrs. Thorne and the twins. That's insane. Check the well, Grace said. Dig down about 10 feet. You'll find a metal box wrapped in plastic. Sarah Kowalski's wedding ring is in there, Mrs. Thorne whispered. Maria Hernandez's driver's license. Jennifer Walsh's birth certificate. Trophies, Mercy said. Your father kept trophies. Stone's face had gone gray. You're lying. Then let us dig, Grace said. No. Why not? Because it's private property. Because you know what we'll find. Mrs. Thorne gripped the cell bars with both hands. Eleanor Hayes. Deputy Eleanor Hayes. She found the first box. That's why your father killed her. Stone spun toward the cell, gun raised. He didn't kill anyone. Hospital records show internal bleeding, Mercy said. Ruptured spleen, broken ribs, collapsed lung. Consistent with severe beating, Grace added. She fell downstairs. What stairs, Deputy Stone? His gun hand shook harder. Sweat beaded on his forehead despite the jail's air conditioning. Outside, thunder rumbled across empty fields. You don't understand, Stone said. These women were causing problems. Stirring up trouble. What kind of trouble? Asking questions. Making accusations. Turning families against each other. Mrs. Thorne laughed, the sound echoing off concrete walls. We were asking about our daughters, our sisters, our friends. They left town, Stone said. People leave. It happens. Without their cars? Mercy asked. Without their clothes? Grace added. Without saying goodbye to their children? Stone's gun dropped to his side. For a moment, he looked exactly like his father. Tired, beaten, caught. The well, Mrs. Thorne whispered. Check the well behind the Stone family house. Count the rings. Count the licenses. Count the hair ribbons. Grace stepped forward, badge gleaming in her palm. Deputy Stone, you're under arrest. For what? Accessory to murder. Conspiracy. Assault on Mrs. Vera Thorne. You can't arrest me. Why not? Because you're not real deputies. Mercy smiled. Check the county charter again. Section 12, paragraph 4. In the absence of county sheriff, deputy commissions automatically activate. Sheriff Williams is in town. Sheriff Williams is in the hospital, Grace said. Heart attack this afternoon. Didn't you get the call? Stone's radio crackled with static. A voice emerged from the speaker, tired and official. All units. Sheriff Williams is in critical condition at County Hospital. Deputy Stone, you're in charge until further notice. Mrs. Thorne pressed her face against the bars again. Elizabeth Stone, she whispered. Stone froze. What did you say? Your sister, Elizabeth Stone, age 16 when she disappeared. She ran away. Did she? Stone's gun clattered to the floor. His knees buckled. He grabbed his desk for support. Check the well, deputy, Mrs. Thorne said softly. Check the well and count the rings. See if you recognize any of them. Grace picked up Stone's gun, ejected the magazine, cleared the chamber. The bullets rolled across linoleum like marbles. "Keys," she said. Stone pointed to his desk drawer with a shaking hand. Mercy found the cell keys, unlocked Mrs. Thorne's door. The old woman stepped out, blood still crusted on her lips, but her eyes bright and fierce. "Now what?" Stone asked. "Now we go digging," Mrs. Thorne said. Dawn light crept across the Stone family property like spilled blood. The old well sat 50 yards behind the main house, surrounded by dying grass and rusted farm equipment. Mercy and Grace stood at its edge, looking down into darkness that seemed to swallow their flashlight beams. Mrs. Thorne emerged from the first pickup truck, moving slowly but steadily. Behind her came the others. Women who had lost daughters, sisters, mothers. Women who had been silenced for decades. Margaret Kowalski, Sarah's mother, clutched a photograph to her chest. Carmen Hernandez held her daughter's rosary beads. Ruth Walsh carried a shovel. "How deep?" Grace asked. 10 feet, Mrs. Thorne said. "Maybe 12. You sure it's here?" "I helped them bury it." Mercy looked at the old woman. "What?" "Your father made me watch," Mrs. Thorne said to darkness. "After he beat Eleanor half to death, he made me dig the hole. Said if I ever talked, I'd join her down there." More trucks arrived. Headlights swept across the well like prison searchlights. Women climbed out, some young, some old, all carrying something. Tools, photographs, documents. Proof of life that had been erased. "Mrs. Chun?" Grace called to a woman stepping down from a red pickup. "My Lisa disappeared in 1995, the woman said. "Sheriff Stone told me she ran away with a boyfriend. She was 16, Margaret Kowalski said. Same as my Sarah. Same as Maria," Carmen Hernandez added. Ruth Walsh spat in the dirt. Jenny was going to report Sheriff Stone for taking bribes. Found her car in the river 3 days later. No body. Mrs. Thorne knelt by the well's stone rim, running her fingers along the rough edges. They kept everything. Every ring, every license, every piece of jewelry. Trophies. Why? Mercy asked. Power. Control. Proof that they could make women disappear whenever they wanted. A truck engine roared in the distance. Headlights bounced along the dirt road, leading to the Stone house. Deputy Stone's patrol car, followed by 2 others. Back up from the county. "He's coming," Grace said. "Good," Mrs. Thorne replied. "Let him come." The patrol cars stopped 20 yards away. Stone climbed out, gun drawn. 2 other deputies flanked him, hands on their weapons but not drawing. They looked nervous, outnumbered by women holding shovels and photographs. "You're all trespassing," Stone shouted. "This is county land now," Mrs. Thorne called back. "Your family lost it for back taxes last month." Stone's face twisted. "What?" "Funny how paperwork gets lost," Grace said, echoing his words from yesterday. Margaret Kowalski stepped forward. Sarah's photograph held high. "Where's my daughter?" "She left town," Stone said. "Without her car? Without her clothes? Without her baby?" Carmen Hernandez held up a small pink blanket. "Maria had a 6-month-old son. You think she ran away and left him?" Stone's gun wavered. "I don't know what happened to your daughters." "Yes, you do," Mrs. Thorne said. Ruth Walsh pushed past the other women, shovel in her hands. "Then you won't mind if we dig." "You can't." "Why not?" "Because it's disturbing the peace." "Whose peace?" Mercy asked. The women began moving toward the well. Stone raised his gun, but 12 women surrounded him now, then 15, then 20. More trucks kept arriving. Word had spread to the county like wildfire. Every family that had lost a daughter. Every mother who had been told to stop asking questions. "Stay back," Stone warned. "Or what?" Mrs. Thorne asked. "You'll shoot us all?" "If I have to." "In front of witnesses?" "What witnesses?" Margaret Kowalski held up her phone. Live streaming to the state police. 1,000 people watching. Stone's backup deputies holstered their weapons. One of them, barely older than the twins, shook his head. "I'm not shooting grandmothers, Stone." They're criminals. Their mothers looking for their children. Ruth Walsh began digging. Her shovel bit into the hard earth beside the well. Other women joined her, taking turns, working in shifts. Stone watched helplessly as they dug deeper, his gun now pointing at nothing but empty air. 10 feet down, Ruth's shovel hit metal. A collective gasp rose from the women. Mrs. Thorne climbed down into the hole, her weather hands brushing dirt from a rusted metal box. "Help me," she said. Mercy and Grace lowered ropes. Together, they hauled the box to the surface. Mrs. Thorne opened it with shaking fingers. Inside, wrapped in rotting cloth, lay dozens of items. Rings, watches, driver's licenses, birth certificates. A lock of blonde hair tied with a pink ribbon. A high school class ring. A silver locket with a baby's photograph inside. "Sarah," Margaret Kowalski whispered, recognizing her daughter's locket. "Maria," Carmen Hernandez sobbed, reaching for a rosary that matched the one in her hands. Stone's gun fell to the ground. His knees buckled. "I didn't know," he whispered. "I didn't know he kept them." "You knew," Mrs. Thorne said. "You all knew." Ruth Walsh held up a deputy's badge, tarnished with age. "Eleanor Hayes, your grandmother's badge." She looked at the twins. "The real one." Mrs. Thorne climbed out of the hole, dirt under her fingernails, silver hair shining in the morning light. She walked to where Mercy stood, pulled her grandmother's badge from Grace's jacket pocket. "This doesn't belong to me anymore," Mrs. Thorne said. "It doesn't belong to me either," Mercy replied. "Yes, it does." Mrs. Thorne pressed the badge into Mercy's palm. The metal felt warm, like it had been waiting 20 years for this moment. "Your grandmother started this," Mrs. Thorne said. "You finish it." Mercy looked at the badge, then at the women surrounding the well. Mothers, daughters, sisters. Survivors. The silence had been broken. The disappeared had been remembered. The truth had been dug up from the darkness and brought into the light. "What happens now?" Grace asked. Mrs. Thorne smiled, and for the first time in decades, it was a smile without fear. "Now we go home."